Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft Classic Zone Exploration video. Today we're going to explore an incredibly scenic and immersive zone in the Eastern Kingdoms known as the Swamp of Sorrows. This area is quite historic to the World of Warcraft, and it makes appearances in games going all the way back to the first campaign mission in Warcraft Orcs and Humans. It's a zone in Classic that is often overlooked as it doesn't contain that many quests, only 23, and it's kind of out of the way for both factions to get to. However, under the right circumstances, this zone is viable, and if you're having trouble finding breathing room to level on a high-pop server, it's a great place to retreat to and get that XP. Moreover, the aesthetic in this zone is incredible, guys. It is very unique and captivating and beautiful and immersive, and I encourage you guys to try and pay mind to the ambient sounds as we make our way through the zone. So our journey is starting us here right at the border between the dreary Deadwind Pass, which is already pretty spooky, and the Swamp of Sorrows. So let us begin. Far distant from civilization, the Swamp of Sorrows is a stagnant marshland of sucking bogs and weeping trees. The ocean seeps into the fen, making the water brackish and ideal for alligators and crocolisks. Right off the bat, this is your first impression of Swamp of Sorrows coming into the zone. It looks so nice. You can see the vines kind of hanging, the crickets and insects kind of chirping. As we get closer to the water here, you're going to hear some of the splashing noises of the kind of somewhat stagnant water, but there's still some motion there. Also, these red flowers that you find throughout the zone are awesome, man. I think they're very unique to the zone, and it has a very dilapidated look to the zone. If you see this initial watchtower, it's kind of leaning to the side, and it looks like this is, you know, way out of both the Horde and Alliance comfort zone. It's a very feral, mysterious zone. And we're going to pause here at this bridge for a second, because this is also a very unique bridge, and this zone has a lot of almost some design elements from some of the future expansions, stuff like even Mists of Pandaria. You'll get almost like an oriental kind of vibe from a lot of the stuff you'll find in this zone, as well as interesting stuff like Draenei. Draenei make an appearance in this zone in the form of Broken, which we'll get to momentarily. But just, I don't know, man, the weeping trees creating this kind of dense canopy overhead, the actual fauna and flora in the zone is very cohesive, very stunning, and again, this kind of dilapidated, wet, rotting feel really comes through, and the music really plays into that. And it's a zone that, you know, back in the day I didn't really utilize too much, but in recent years I've really come to appreciate. So we're now approaching this Draenei village here. These people are known as the Broken, but they are a form of Draenei, and if you actually click them, they're called Draenei Exiles. And this is really your first taste of Draenei, right? In Classic WoW, you're seeing these things, and you're like, man, what are these guys? They look kind of creepy, and I don't know, man. No, I don't think anyone can really deny that the color palette in Classic, especially when you're going through zones like these, like Deadwind Pass and Swamp of Sorrows, are very macabre and dark and somewhat eerie, you know. And you'll even see on some of these trees here, Blizzard put these kind of contorted faces on the trees and stuff like that, and it just really all comes together so nicely. So we'll keep going with the description. The ocean seeps into this fen, making the water brackish and ideal for alligators and crocolisks. Salt deposits encrust fallen logs and protruding rocks. Bog beasts slog through the interior. Despite these dangers, the Horde has taken advantage of the region's distance from Stormwind to establish a colony in the zone, and that's what we're looking at right here. This is Stonard. Now, it almost looks a little bit overgrown. The structures almost look a little bit wilted, and, you know, Orc architecture is already kind of like that, right? They have these kind of spiky logs and stuff, but I don't know, there's something about it where you can almost tell that the Horde and the Orcs are out of their comfort zone here. They're out of their element, and a lot of the people you'll see in this town are wearing more leather and stuff. They're almost more equipped for a jungle-type atmosphere, which further adds to it. Looking over to the left here, you see kind of the smoke coming out of this little tiny makeshift blacksmith area, which adds to the aesthetic as well. It's just stunning, man. It is just so stunning and inspired. Yeah, anyway. So, a flight of green dragons guards the Lost Temple, and that's the capital of this zone, the Temple of Atalakar, and or otherwise known as Sunken Temple ST. Again, another dungeon that's probably the most underutilized dungeon in the game. So that's an ancient troll edifice that channels demonic energy and drives living creatures to madness and violence. So you very much get that feel as you're making your way through this. There's this kind of just wild sort of madness about this area, and I made a video going over the wetlands as well. I think I do like these kind of marshy areas. They're very immersive for me. By the way, this spot right here that we're going through with all these spiders, this is a AAA Tier 1 grinding spot. When I recently leveled a Protection Paladin, I was here for a bunch of levels. You can gather up just a ton of spiders, and you can kind of refine this path so that they're constantly respawning for you. You're also seeing some of this green dragonflight, and right here, guys, boom, this is the first real look at the Sunken Temple. And man, what does it look like? It looks like a sunken temple. It's awesome, man. They really make it feel like this place has been neglected for thousands of years. This is some ancient troll ruins that got, basically destroyed and overgrown. Because you'll see troll temples throughout Classic WoW that are still structurally sound, right? And they don't look like they're deteriorating. Whereas this one looks different. And even just looking at this little dock, man, it looks wet. It looks crumbling. You see this little kind of, canoe here with just a really basic paddle and skulls on it, and it's implied that you're gonna have to just row your way out to this creepy looking temple. And here we are in the temple, man, guarded by green dragons. I think it's a really, really inspired dungeon design. It almost reminds me of Zelda Ocarina of Time and the Water Temple. But here we are going under the water. You're going to be able to see some of these piranhas and stuff too, so they actually have some underwater creatures to be mindful of as well. So cool. Anyway, the Swamp of Sorrows stands on the eastern side of Azeroth, east of Deadwind Pass, north of the Blasted Lands, and south of the Red Ridge Mountains. Most of the swamp is dominated by nature. Wild beasts like crocolisks, spiders, and jaguars hunt for prey, while aggressive murloc tribes populate the coast and nearby caves. Draenei led through the Dark Portal years ago, driven mad due to homesickness and transformed into Lost Ones, have settled in the northern swamps. And those are the Draenei we saw before. So you're going to see some other elements here, like as we make our way over to the coastline, you're going to see more of almost that Mists of Pandaria style architecture on these like ancient turtles that died long ago. And oh man, you're starting to just get elements from the Burning Crusade and Mists later on, and even just making it's so cohesive, the zone. Even looking at these Murloc camps right here, I'm not sure if they're almost like subtly different from the other Murloc camps. Like these ones have skulls hanging off them. They almost look a little bit more wilted. Everything looks wilted and wet and rotting. I think Murlocs really fit in this environment so well. And I learned recently, here's the turtle I was talking about with this almost little pagoda type Mists of Pandaria thing on it. And I wonder if they knew that stuff, because now in modern WoW, that's the panda mount, right? They ride on turtles, and here's a turtle with that pagoda. So maybe, once upon a time there was panda in here. I'm not sure if anyone knows, but we also learned recently that Murlocs are actually an ancient race that go back all the way to the trolls, really. And I did not know that they had that much history behind them. So here we are on the coastline. You're starting to hear some of the sounds from kind of the ocean on this beach, and just so nice. I think, aside from there being a sparse amount of quests, this is one of the most underrated zones, man. Just in how unique the atmosphere is. Those red flowers, like we're seeing on the left side of the screen right now, these I think are also unique to the zone. You don't see these little poppy type things anywhere. Here's another dead turtle, and it just feels like such an ancient, spooky, gloomy place. But yeah, these Murlocs that we passed, as well as those spiders, are very, very good AoE grinding spots. You'll see mages here just putting in some serious work, getting some monstrous XP per hour spikes. But you can also get those you can also kill those spiders, and the whelplings, as soon as you enter the zone, are pretty good as well. Right as soon as you enter on the right, they have pretty low armor, and as soon as you enter the zone on the left, there's also a bunch of kind of bog lords surrounding this this kind of cave. That's another great grinding spot as well for like rogues and stuff like that, because they do have low armor and very, very squishy. So we're seeing another kind of Draenei camp here, and there's all these little crystals around. It almost looks almost Burning Crusade-like to me. You know, you do find those in Un'Goro as well, but this does kind of look like a spookier Zangarmarsh to a certain extent, right? And I'm just in love with the whole color palette they chose here. These grays and browns, crocodiles, and man, it is really, really cool. So we're making our way back through the zone. We finished our initial lap. It's not a huge zone, but we're gonna make our way through Stonard and head over to the Fallen Horde Warrior. I don't know if you guys remember that from that old quest line, but you can't finish the zone exploration without popping in and seeing him. But I don't know what you guys think, man, but this zone is great. This is great. There's some zones, similar stuff like Ajara, Hinterlands, Swamp of Sorrows, that are beautifully inspired and cohesive, but they don't get a lot of love in Classic. So it might be something you want to check out. So here we are. We're going towards the exit of the Swamp of Sorrows that leads into the Blasted Lands, and here is the fallen hero of the Horde. He's kind of a ghost warrior, spirit warrior here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely have a lot of fun making these, and I'm gonna start trying to do these again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.